lovely day! Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to keep up to date with the community Flat Earth Debate, then visit nathanoakley.com and join the Flat Earth Debate community forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below this video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, then simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are currently joined by The Plain Truth, Ranty Flat Earth, Paul and Chocolate Saying. Good to have you all.
Hello.
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 Good morning.
Any signs of curvature?
Nope.
Signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety, as Ranty's on the panel. We normally get a sexist remark at that stage.
Nope.
No.
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container?
No.
Nope.
Any scientific evidence for gravity?
Scientific evidence of what?
Gravity?
What's that?
Very good question.
No.
What about any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Nope. Just
Right.
assumptions.
How about evidence for a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth? Any evidence of that?
No.
Anybody? No? I hold out
No.
so much hope for the molten iron core evidence. I really do.
Well,
What
I was
about-
hoping that Gary was going to join, but he hasn't showed up, has he?
Gary who? Oh,
Gary
Gary
Awesome.
Awesome. Right, okay, sorry, that was a bit of a brain fart. Yes, we'll get to that in a moment. Last but not least, any evidence of the R value, Earth radius, gentlemen?
No.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
So, if you check out my mirror or chunked out section of Ranty's live stream from yesterday, Ranty informed me that Gary Awesome had made a response to my response to his response to Orphan Red, as convoluted as that may sound. And I hadn't watched it, I had a busy day yesterday, but nevertheless Ranty invited me to join him on his show and discuss it and react to it live, i.e. play it for the first time and gauge my reactions there and then, which we did, and it was fairly boring for the first, 10 minutes that we watched the video. It was kind of, well, that is a logical fallacy, and yeah, you have got a point there, it is a statement of fact, but it's still a logical fallacy. Kind of not so intriguing until he got to the bit in the video where he uses a picture from a heliocentric priest of a second law of thermodynamics violation, at which point I just lose my shit, because obviously I'm so used to the people who come onto the panel being acutely aware that that's a dangerous path, a very, very thin tightrope to walk if you're coming on the show. How long has it been since someone's presented a picture of space, would you say, guys?
Since the last time you brought out Narnia, I think.
They brought it
They
up,
don't try to do that.
but they're kind of trying to detail it as their religious faith as opposed to literally showing a picture given to them by a priest. They just say, well, the Earth is a giant mass that can retain gravity, theoretically, if it's like a tube that's big enough. They go into their conceptualizations of what the Earth should be able to do, theoretically, given all the bullshit that they understand on paper. But very rarely, I can't remember the last time someone actually came on. I think the last time someone did it was actually Brenda, probably about 9 months ago, where they actually showed a picture from a heliocentric priest and said, there you go, what's your problem?
Yeah, it's
Like-
a shame though. I mean, his channel's gone very quiet, Nath.
Yeah, a couple of people in the comments said he's deleted the videos. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Then somebody else said something along the lines of, where's his channel gone? I was like, I don't know, I haven't got time to look. Then someone made it really blunt and were like, the video he made about you has been removed. I was like, oh, well, that's easy enough to check. So I just went and clicked on the link, because I linked that video in the video response and said, subscribe to Gary here or whatever. But it just said, this video's no longer here, or words to that effect. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then Ranty contacted me and was like, his whole channel, every video he's got has been taken down or put on private or whatever you have to do to get it to be in that state. I was like, oh, probably just a coincidence. Maybe we've force-fed him the red pill. I don't know, but we can only speculate, right?
Yeah, I mean, that rant might
this
have
happened. I'm sorry, Ranty.
No,
This
fine.
happened. This happened yesterday after the response. Is that when this happened with this guy's channel?
Yeah, within the past 12 hours.
Interesting.
Yeah, you forced him to, like Colin Turner says, you force-fed him the red pill as a suppository.
Did you want to display something, Paul?
Oh, I was just going to wait till you got done. I was going to talk about the new evidence that the moon is in our atmosphere, but there was no specific time to do that yet, so I was waiting patiently.
No, do it now. I mean, I'll give you a slight feed in to say that back in 1998, this information was released but didn't make headline news. Again, call it a coincidence, as we're pointing out that they're slightly fucked if they claim that they're going to go to the moon by leaving Earth's atmospheric pressure, travelling through a vacuum, and then arriving on the moon. If they're to say it's an open system, they've got a problem that the gas would escape, or they can say it's a closed system. Now, they haven't exactly done that, but that's probably enough lead. I'll pass over to Paul. So there you go, you're presenting on screen.
No, it was just kind of funny. That's all it was. I mean, I was thinking how it was fun. I was talking to Erwin about it on Skype, and I just thought it was funny how they're, after all this conversation for the last year, that they decided to come out with this, just like you just said. And it's just, I just think it's hilarious, And even Erwin brought up a point like, well, if the moon's passing through the atmosphere, why don't we feel the ripples, like the waves going through, like your hand going in the water or something? Why don't you feel that? And I thought that's kind of ironic too. And also, why isn't the molecule slowing down the moon? Because there's impacts. There's all kinds of issues that start to creep up as you start thinking about it. That's it. That's all I wanted to say about it.
Can you say damage control 101, baby?
Can you pop it back up, just the picture, just one? Sorry, Paul, I know you've just literally taken it off. Sorry.
That's okay. Just give me a second here. I got it. Can you see it? Can you guys see it? Hello?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, I see. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's perfect. So
Yeah.
even if you want to, I get a lot of glare on my screen, so it's quite difficult for me to see where the distinguishing line is, but I assume that in this diagram you've got the moon and the Earth, and obviously not to scale, and then you've got this bit of blue haze around it. Well, that still doesn't alter that that's not a container. If they're going to push the limits of where they claim our atmosphere is, it doesn't make any difference. They could push it double the distance or triple the distance. It wouldn't change the fact that beyond that is a vacuum. So they're still not introducing a container just by saying the atmosphere extends further. Someone else recently was showing me some sort of electromagnetic whatever. I can't remember exactly what they were describing from NASA research. It might have been you, actually, Ranty. Was it you?
Yeah.
Did you want to pull that up and talk about that?
I can't actually. I've literally got to go back to work. I only stopped by on my lunch, so.
No, that's fair enough. Well, I'll just make my point, and then I can let Paul go back to his hangouts and stuff. But yeah, it doesn't make any difference how far they push it out, not to scale or to scale. Beyond the non-container is still a negative pressure, or I keep saying negative pressure, a lower pressure system, and entropy would still take effect. This gas that they're claiming is in this area now would still dissipate into the vacuum. So it makes no difference how far they push it out. If it's got no container, it's got no container. The gas would fill the space. Second law of thermodynamics. Maybe they'll come up with some bullshit that they'll put around all of it, including the moon, and say, oh, actually, we can't go to Mars. But the satellites and all the bullshit they claim to be putting into that second law of thermodynamics violation won't alter just because they've extended how far they say the atmosphere is travelling to. There's still, an infinite vacuum. If you zoom out far enough, all you've got is black around a little dot, even if you include the moon in that little dot. Anyway, thanks, Paul.
Oh, actually, I got a couple more comments. Just I never really took sit there and analyze this picture, but if you think about it, what is the SOHO orbiting for one around that ellipse? It looks like there's nothing there that is orbiting. Also, is if the way this is depicted, and I think even Red Pill mentioned this, and I started thinking about it. If you look at the way the atmosphere is trailing away, which means some of the atmosphere is being left behind, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it gets back to the second law of thermodynamics issues. There should be no atmosphere. just from this illustration,
or maybe
here
it's just sitting like that in the middle of space, because that doesn't violate anything. It's just cool.
Well, and none of this is to scale either. So it's like they did this little. I mean, if they were to show it to scale, what would it really look like? So
now, what do you think that means now for these Van Allen radiation belts? Like, how are they going to explain that now? Like, is it still in the middle of us and the moon, or does that extend further out? Like, this is so ridiculous, guys. It's unbelievable. My face hurts from laughing at this.
Something I thought that Red Pill brought up, because when I saw this, I was like, wait a minute, if they're saying that the moon is in our atmosphere now, doesn't that kind of back up what even the biblical model is saying, that the sun and moon are in the firmament? So they're saying that the sun and moon are in our atmosphere. Just another way of saying that it's the moon at least is in our atmosphere, in the enclosed system. They're at least admitting that to a small degree. I don't know, just interesting.
Yeah, they're literally changing the whole fairy tale. So bad.
Good stuff. They've now bid farewell to Ranty. He's disappeared.
I did listen to some of your rebuttal last night. That was kind of funny.
Hey, Flat and Earth, how you doing?
Hello.
What's up, Flatter?
Oh, man. Someone said biblical, so I had to come stink the place up.
What are you, like Candyman? Somebody says Bible, you just show up.
Yeah, same pain.
Same pain.
Hoping you guys can fill a little bit, because I've got a screaming kid to deal with just for a few moments. Hopefully you can fill the gap.
So if I'd have said, let's see, Hindi or Nordic or Aztec, you wouldn't have jumped in. But as soon as I said Bible, you jump in. Is that kind of what it is?
Actually, it's mostly just when you start talking, I already hear creator at the end of the sentence, so I just want to come in anyway.
I got you.
Oh, did you guys hear about that YouTube thing that Arwin posted in the Master B chat where there was like a child sex ring or something in YouTube that they're hiding in plain sight?
No, tell us more.
That's all I know. I saw it in the Master B chat that YouTube is being sued for it because I guess there's some child porn thing that's going on in YouTube, and it was in plain sight, but they didn't notice it.
Yeah,
so it's ironic that they're censoring.
Certain advertisers pulling out because of that.
That's right. Yeah.
But then when I did read that, because I didn't read the whole thing, but then when I saw, I was like, wait a minute. I mean, Disney pulled out of it. Aren't they the ones who are putting penises in their cartoons? Like, that's crazy. So they're pulling out of it. Okay. So take of that what you want.
Hello, guys.
Hi.
Hello, Nathan had to step away for a second.
What's up, Eric?
Hey, I see you guys are already talking about that new discovery about the atmosphere.
The new 2019 edition atmosphere.
Yeah, apparently from 20-year-old data that they just found with the rest of the telemetry data, probably.
Yeah, they found it.
Yeah.
Somebody had it in the back of a closet somewhere. They say, "Oh wow, look at this."
Maybe
They can
maybe it was in Broward County. Maybe, I don't know.
they can find the data, but they can't find the moon lander telemetry. They can find this random data from some unknown source or some random source.
Also, there's I think that black and white photo from that same article that was apparently taken from the 1972 Apollo mission, Apollo 16. I'm trying to find the source of that. It's from that ESA website, but it's taken apparently by Apollo. I can't find the origination of that photo. It's like that. So I don't even know how recent that photo is. They might have just made that photo pretty recently, you know?
Gonna say hello to our new guest, Rebel Smirnoff.
Hey guys, nice to be here.
Hello.
What's up, Rebel?
Hey. Hey Nathan, hey everybody else.
Hello, sir.
How's everybody doing?
Not too bad, man. How are you?
Doing great, fantastic.
Where exactly on the fence do you sit, my friend?
It's flat.
How long have you thought that?
About 2 years or more.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, you know.
Say that again.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, I can understand that sentiment. Definitely.
So where you been hiding, or do you just go into other forums?
Say that again?
So where you been hiding, do you go into other forums, or did you just come out about it, or?
I'm not hiding. I'm just actively sort of pursuing and just following the conversation Nathan has with others. I've been participating, but under a different account. Just using this account for now.
Cool.
What is your thought about this new revelation of our 2019 edition atmosphere, which is what I'm going to call it now?
Is that in regards to atmosphere extending to the moon?
Yeah, past the moon, actually, yes.
Yeah, well, they have to do something like this, right? They're like cornered rats. They're gonna have to come up with BS to mitigate the damage.
Very, very good analogy. Cornered rats.
Well, I mean, look at that. Flat Earth movement had propped this topic up to the mainstream already for a while, and it's just, to me, it's hilarious to observe the reaction and damage control from the other side. And of course, it's kudos to all of you guys who, you know, relentlessly pursuing this no matter what. And you know, a lot of you already have sort of black belts in debating globers. I don't want to. One thing I want to actually add to all of you, and please don't take it the wrong way. I know where you're coming from by being so harsh on the other side, but we have to understand all of us at some point in time been there. I'm sure some of you have relatives who are still on the other side. And I just simply don't wish conversation to degrade to the point where people calling each other names. Even though if the other side does it, I think we have to remain civil and as polite as possible, because I believe that just simply that disarm the negative aggression coming from the other side to some degree.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I actually used to be polite. I used to be polite, but I'm just not anymore. Now I just don't care what people think. In the beginning, they said that I was an idiot, and now I just treat them like they're idiots.
I
But
know, I
think
know
for the
exactly
most
what you're
part,
saying. I know
I think
exactly
for
what
the
you're saying.
most part on YouTube, people are kind of okay. This flat Earth debate is just kind of the medium where they get squashed, and I think that's fun.
Yeah,
they
no, I
deserve
totally
it.
get it. I totally understand where you're coming from, and I do realize it's asking a lot from us, from you guys, to remain sort of civil and not calling names. But once we start doing that, I think we're just losing credibility to some respect. And I know some of you may not care. In looking into this subject, most will turn off just simply by listening to the rhetoric that just degrades to the point of ad hominems at all times. And if we are staying clean in terms of language, I think that will help newcomers to look at the matter calmly, rationally, without emotions being involved. I know it's asking too much. I know we all lost patience at some point in time. Totally understandable. And it's hard to argue with somebody who pretends to give scientific arguments and pretends to be knowledgeable in the subject. And with Nathan probing into it in the first few minutes, letting them know that they are completely full of it, that's on them. That should not be on us. Totally on them. And I think we're just doing ourselves a disservice when we losing control, so to speak. I'm not saying that we all do. I'm not saying that we're doing it all the time. I'm just saying that I think we need to. My wish, let's put it that way. My wish would be is for us to up our game, and no matter how hard it can be, to try and keep that in mind.
While I totally back that sentiment, I don't know. Me personally, I have to say that sure it can get a little rough in here, and sometimes it's a little chaotic. But you have to look at the basic point of we're not so much attacking them, we're attacking the arguments that they're bringing. And if they come in here with no arguments or no proof to provide to us for these things that they are asserting are facts, that's a problem.
I agree.
Add to that,
but we have to leave it at the impersonal level in terms of the ideas. I think it's my opinion. I mean, I'm not an expert by any means in psychology and rhetoric, but I think no matter how hard it is for us within the argument, and no matter how hard the other side tries to breach that barrier for the topic to become personal rather than about the idea. See what I'm saying?
of course. But at the same time, again, when somebody comes in here with the attitude of hi morons, I've come in here to put you guys on game as to what's going on in the world. I mean, we're humans. We're gonna take that with a certain emotion. You know what I mean? And then to add to that, you still don't have any signs to back up what you're actually saying. It becomes a problem. So yeah, I know it's a little rough when these Globers get what they kind of deserve, but they do sometimes kind of need to get that because they come in offhand with the attitude of we are stupid and they are trying to help us out.
Yes.
Either that
yes.
or they are trying to ridicule us. And,
I see. I totally get it. I totally get it. I'm talking about more of a long-term game plan. You see what I'm saying? Long-term
Yeah, of
game
course.
plan necessitates us being calm, not crossing the barrier to get on ad hominem, and just stick to the issue at hand, no matter how absurd or retarded we think the other side is. Because remember, all of us at some point of time have been there, right? I'm not saying to the same degree. I'm not saying to the at the same sort of issue, because I'm sure you guys understand what I'm saying. It's just my wish, take it or leave it. I think in the long term, it will be there'll be more negativity coming out of that in the future than we want to deal with. So just my suggestion to stick to the topic no matter how hard it is, not cross this barrier for the conversation to become full of ad hominems, even if it comes from the other side.
Well, I think what would help across the board on both sides is that we both
Yeah, but
come
somebody
at it.
has to do it first, and it ain't gonna be them. Trust me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree. I agree with you. And I think one thing we don't do on both sides is sometimes we don't kind of come at it both as a teachable. We both sides coming teachable, which means there might be a point that somebody's making that we need to hear on both sides, but that neither. And sometimes we get wrapped up in the heat of the moment. And I agree with you.
But the thing is, once ad hominem starts flying around, the rational mind shuts down. So it becomes harder and harder for them to comprehend what it is either Nathan or Sleeping Warrior or anybody else is saying. Just from that point of view, I think it will be helpful. I know it's hard, totally hard, maybe not justified, but long-term gain, maybe not for the sake of people on the panel, but for the sake of somebody who's coming in the first time. Even though, don't get me wrong, I thoroughly enjoyed Nathan's rhetoric, Nathan's ability to put point clearly. I do share his optimism and emotions. I totally understand it, but I think my thinking of it is, and it's not a critique of Nathan. It's just in general. When I see videos from our side calling other side globetards and other names, I know we want to do that. We all want to do that because we are called idiots and stuff like this. But at the same token, if we are looking and analyze, and we'll analyze a long-term plan, long-term game, because it is a long-term game. This war is not going to be won anytime soon. Trust me, guys, and I'm sure you realize that. Better fought with ideas, with clarity in speech and rhetoric, so newcomers come in can sense the passion, but are not turned off by the language, by the ad hominems. Right? Because we're not really targeting dumbasses here, right? We're not targeting people who will never come around. We're really targeting intellectuals. We're targeting people who are actually able to think for themselves. And unfortunately, for the most part, most of them will be turned off. Their rational mind will shut down as soon as emotional level will cross certain threshold. I've been in situations like this. No matter how right I am, if I cross that barrier in a conversation, all hope is lost. For me to have a person to think rationally, and that's, I think, is important.
Yeah, and just a couple months ago, I was a quote unquote globetrotted myself, and it makes me think of, I don't know how many people know who Rush Limbaugh is. He has, I think, some good things to say about the art of persuasion and argumentation. Is that the best way to quote unquote win someone over is to lead them to draw the same conclusion that you did, or lead them so that they themselves get that realization, not through like calling them names, and because like you said, people get closed off and it kind of gets more of the fight or flight response.
Yeah, it's a dialectic method, right? It's a question and answer, and you basically lead person into the same conclusion as you are, just like you point out. If you read Plato and Socrates and stuff, it's it's very pleasant read because he guides you along with this dialectic, right? And you feel like you are discovering these new ideas at the same time as he does. Even though, of course, he's a long time there, he's bringing you along in a very interactive kind of manner. Question and answer, question and answer, question and answer. And I think that's one of the best ways to put ideas forward and come to a certain conclusion. And it feels like both of you are after the truth rather than after dogma, right? Because in the question and answer, at each point and stage of the dialogue, you have to agree before you move forward, right? And so we will discover a lot of times following that rhetoric, following that technique, at what point do people actually disagree, right? Rather than we shooting right away from the target. I'm not saying all of us do that. I'm not saying all of us do that all times. Some of us do it. Shooting right away for the target, Earth is flat and blah, 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 right? And for them, it's too big of a leap of faith or even idea to comprehend. And I'm talking about newcomers. I'm not talking about veterans from globe side.
Hello, Sleeping Warrior.
Anyway. Hey, Nathan. Oh, Sleeping Warrior.
No sound.
Makes you wonder that sometimes a lot of what's happened, because there's a knee-gut response to laughter and ridicule right off the bat. And like you were saying, it does kind of trigger a response that shuts down all rational thought,
Exactly.
on both sides, and because even the person laughing at us won't listen to what we're having to say, even though what we might be saying is rational. But them ridiculing us triggers us into this fight position. There's a kind of almost a feedback loop that occurs. And you're right. I think removing some of the emotional component would be critical.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know how many of you have seen Murphy 25, allegedly Dave, during the debate with a scientist, basically a kid who claims to work, or he actually probably works on CERN or somehow involved in CERN. And so the idea is in his mind, I don't know if you've seen it or not, I would assume some of you did, probably like a month ago, maybe less than a month ago.
You're talking about the physicist that he had a debate with?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Shout out to Colin Turner for the super chat. Really appreciate your support. Thank you very much indeed.
What's up, Ryder?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Hey, Anthony.
Hey,
What's up, man?
I was listening to what you were saying a minute ago about trying to keep you cool. I agree.
You're doing a great job, by the way, Anthony. You're doing a really good job at that.
I agree with you in principle, but how do you deal with people that are intellectually dishonest but try and pass themselves off as being intelligent, who refuse to accept points, who refuse to admit that they might not be as strong as they think they are in terms of the points they make, or dishonestly misrepresent arguments to try and sound as though they're winning, but actually they're not answering the point in hand, and they refuse to answer the point in hand?
Yeah, let me answer that. And just because we're calling them names doesn't change the fact that they're doing it, right? Doesn't make us win or lose. It just moves the conversation to a completely different plane. In my opinion, that's my opinion, be it as it may.
Well, when you've got somebody like, for example, Conspiracy Cats, that we've been asking over and over and over again, he comes in and has a really affable conversation, a couple of cheeky smiles and a couple of like half compliments, but still won't answer the question. There comes a point where you lose your patience with them and you start to get aggressive because they're refusing to answer the question, but trying to present themselves as credible and answering the question when really they're obfuscating the point completely. They won't accept that they're obfuscating, and it gets on people's nerves. How can you not lose your temper with somebody over time?
No, losing temper is one thing. And again, I'm not critiquing what you guys doing at all.
No, I know.
Don't get it the wrong way. Losing the temper is actually, I think it's normal. I totally agree with you. But crossing the threshold of the conversation into ad hominems is where I think we should try our very best and draw the line. I mean, emotional discussions, I enjoy very much. I hate monotonal, sort of regurgitating of facts. There has to be emotion involved, and you guys are doing a pretty good job at that. Just,
I agree in essence with everything you've said. I don't disagree with you.
Right.
I just think it's a little bit too idealist, and it assumes that your opponent is intellectually honest. And in my experience of these yahoos, honest to God, they deserve the ad hominems when they start presenting nonsense arguments without evidence to support the position, or passing evidence off as addressing the point when it's not, or just obfuscating points with word salad that sounds credible and like for instance, like Rumpus can talk for 25 minutes about refraction and not answer the question. It's really
Right.
difficult to have a back and forth with someone like Rumpus, and in the end, it's like you have to just kick him. And although he can whinge about it in chat, the simple answer is it was a yes/no question. And why have you given us like a continuous monologue for 6, 7, 8 minutes where you won't allow anybody to interrupt you when you're talking rubbish? Because if you interrupt them in the first 10 seconds and stop them before it goes on, then you can address the point in hand. But if you have to let them speak on because he continues over and over and over again, you can't have a conversation like that. There is no back and forth. It's literally Rumpus is demanding that we accept his dogmatic approach, and no one wins.
I understand.
And the fact is, how long are we supposed to accept demands like that from people like
is it worth having conversations?
It's because of people like Rumpus is the way he's part of the reason why this show is the way it is right now.
Yeah.
Because again, how long are we going to accept just being battered and thrown, nonsense at, and we're supposed to just accept it? That doesn't happen here, and this is why people are upset about it. Now, I get it. It's emotional. This is an emotional topic because we've all grown up in a world that, we're taught our paradigm when we're kids. You understand? So,
Hey, Mark,
there are going to be people, just because we're having this very conversation, are going to hate us. You understand? And some of these guys, when they come into this show, they already come in with that vitriol. They already come in thinking they're better than somebody else.
Hold on 1 second, guys. We've got GP and Mark. Hi, Mark. And also, hey, GP, can you hear us?
Yes, hi, how are you? Germany here.
Jeremy?
No, Germany.
Oh, from Germany.
Deutschland.
Good to have you.
Deutschland, ganz genau, exactly.
Good to have you both.
Welcome.
Just so that just maybe gets round out. Maybe it won't with the new guests. We'll see. But just I've forgotten your name already. The guy with the Braveheart avatar, Rebel. Anthony typically echoes your sentiments 100% on an almost daily basis with me after each and every show, saying pretty much exactly what you say. So it's really...
This is not directed at you guys, really. It's just for all of the globe, flat Earth community, just in general. This is not directed at you or anyone specific.
Just gonna say, shout out to Joe for the super chat. I'm so happy to be sharing our atmosphere with the moon now. This is beyond comical. How can people look at this and not be outraged? Yeah, I agree completely. It is a complete and total outrage. So yeah, totally agree. But just to round that out. So Anthony was essentially playing devil's advocate and putting all of my arguments across. Which was extremely refreshing, as I say, because typically he's fighting your corner. So to hear him play devil's advocate, and although he did say over and over again, I completely agree with you, which I know damn well he does. So yeah, nice conversation, excellent, and the chat agreed with pretty much everything you said, my friend.
Are you talking to me?
Absolutely, yes.
Sorry. Right. Yeah. So yeah, I think we win in the long run if we try our best to stick to the below the threshold of becoming personal in the conversations, no matter how hard it is. It's a winning position regardless how you look at it. Just thinking tactically here.
Yeah, I think the thing that bugs me the most, and I think that in a debate, emotions can fly and it can descend into ad hominems, but I see it the most on the globe side, is they start at the default as calling us all retards and dumb.
Yeah, but we don't have to degrade to their level. That's the thing.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying that when we're in a debate in the heat of the moment, sometimes it can descend, and like Anthony said, we're not perfect, and I'm just saying that I agree with you actually about this issue, but I'm just saying that it's difficult when they start with that as a presupposition or supposition that we are.
Yeah, and they're very smirky. They're very, they think they're better than everybody else. I totally get it, and a lot of it is childish. I mean, you guys have to understand. If you just outsider looking at the conversations, I guarantee you, keeping the conversation cool, collected, they'll see right away that the other side acting childish, no matter what, right?
Yeah, I was just going to say.
So naturally, they'll start. Their mind will start opening up to the idea coming from our side, right? Because we sound cool, collected. If we have to repeat something 100 times, even though I probably couldn't do that. I mean, kudos to Nathan and Anthony and all of you guys. I myself, I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I myself probably would go into ad hominems as well, because that's a natural reaction when somebody calls you names, right? We just immediately respond. Somebody talks to you snarky, thinks they're better than you, and their opinion is better than yours for whatever reason. It's hard to maintain a civil conversation with people like this. I totally get it.
All right, so I mean, just to reiterate what Anthony said, I mean, let's just take an example of somebody like Bob who came in the other day, right? This guy comes in for, I don't know, almost 2.5 hours, something like that, spitting all this nonsense to us. And then at the end of it, when he basically realized he didn't bring anything, what was his response to that? Oh, I already have all the answers. I was just trolling you guys. You know what I mean? Like, how are we supposed
he was
to
just
deal with
angry.
that? Yeah, I'm sure he
was just angry.
But,
And I
would
say the Nathan channel is the bad place to do that, because I disagree with Sleeping Warrior. I think Conspiracy Cats was pushed away by Nathan's method of just squashing people, which I love. I think it's great. I think they should all be squashed and treated this way, but it's going to cause people to run away, which is what Conspiracy Cats did. Had Nathan not reacted to him and called him an idiot or whatever he does, the way Nathan does it, the way we all know he does it, Conspiracy Cats might still be here today talking about the same old thing.
Yeah, but we're not fighting.
Of course you object to that, but you're wrong. Sorry.
No, I object to it because what you're doing is labouring the point against Nathan when you should be saying, well, why has it got to 300, 400 times when he hasn't answered the question? If he'd have answered the question, if he'd have answered the question in the first, maybe the second time, if he missed it the first time, if he'd have answered it the second time, it would never have got to that point of 300, would it? And losing your temper.
Exactly.
But Rebel's point is that we are right, regardless of where the conversation goes. If you were just calm and collected and answered all the questions, eventually you would both lead to the same path, whether they like it or not,
yeah,
because
but
we're
Flatner,
right.
You know damn well whether or not we are right. Whatever happens at the end of the day, he's going to go back to where the hell he's talking to, or whoever's listening to him, and tell all of us tell all of them that we're wrong.
Well, I think
so. That doesn't make us wrong, guys.
Hang on,
I know that.
Gents, hang on. Earth Flattener, I think you've missed the response. I got Rebel's point. My response back was, what do you do when somebody continuously obfuscates the point? I'll ask you the same question.
No. If that question is posed to me, Anthony, I'll answer it to you.
No, it's not. It's not. It's aimed at Earth Flattener, who said that Rebel's point was this, and I understand Rebel's point. My question back is, how far do we have to go before we say that enough's enough?
No, what I was saying was that Conspiracy Cats is a bad example. He actually proves Rebel's point of how we should not be. Because Conspiracy
you're
Cats
pinning the blame.
Afraid.
You're saying that he's not here because of Nathan. No, I disagree.
Yes,
he's not here because he can't answer the question.
Right.
And he needs to be a victim.
Yep. No, I don't think that's right.
Well, because I do think that's right.
Okay, so when Conspiracy Cats, when you first brought him in and you basically made him famous, right? he was afraid to go into the flat earth debate because he knew this is what was going to happen. And he's a so-called teacher or whatever, so he thinks of himself as some kind of superior teacher, right? So when he came in here and he got squashed by Nathan because Nathan fucking kicks ass, sorry, he just dropped off. And it was clear that he was never going to come back. It was clear that he became the enemy, and he started his energy to post videos, got strong at that point, and now he's been at the polar opposite end. Had Nathan come at him in just an intellectually, just calm way, he would have just been going in circles with him with gravity and presuppositions and all this stuff. But at least the audience,
none of that would have
the
happened
audience would have
had
gotten
he
the point.
answered the question the first time it was posed.
But not only that,
Let's can't do that. If
hang on, stop.
If
you're
you are
failing
in
to
a
realize
baller's
that
paradigm,
Earth
you're
Flattener,
gonna
listen,
be stuck
you're
there.
failing to realize, you're failing to appreciate that I had the previous hangout with him where I gave him pre-disclosure of the 5 questions that I was going to ask him for the evidence to support the physics evidence to support his position. He had the questions, and when he came in, he just went blah, 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 like every baller. Now I was dead polite to him, and there's no reason why he should go and now become a victim just because you think Nathan was a bit too hard after the 300th time. I don't agree.
But that's what happened.
Agree.
I'm not saying that he should or shouldn't, but that is what happened. You had that show with
if he,
him, right?
honestly, Flatner, if he couldn't take it, he should have stepped out of the arena. He got
I agree,
destroyed
but
by
they don't
Nathan.
do
He
that.
should have went and
He
went to
destroyed.
go.
It was amazing, and it's what should happen.
And he
to
should
all
have
of
went to
them.
go play golf somewhere or something if he
Yeah.
couldn't deal with the topic at hand. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't feel sorry for this guy. I'm sorry. I don't.
I don't feel sorry for him either.
Yeah, I disagree with Rebel. I think they should all be squashed. And I think, initially they were ridiculing us for the flat earth. Now they're getting pissed off to the point where YouTube wants to censor flat earth. So clearly it is working. And eventually they are going to come to that acceptance of it.
They're not.
So I don't think we should change anything.
I don't think that's
Hold on, I'm really
That's
confused.
the
Hold on, guys.
conspiracy
I'm really
going-
confused now, Earth Flattener. So are you saying you do or you don't feel sorry for Conspiracy Cats in his current predicament?
No, I don't feel sorry for him. No, I think he's an idiot. I don't care. I think he should be squashed. I think they should all be squashed. I'm just saying he's a bad example to prove this point. He's proving Rob's point of how we should not be. Because had you, Nathan, been calm with Conspiracy Cats, I think he would have probably still been a baller because he doesn't want to lose his job. But it would have been a conversation that could have kept on going, and it would have educated at least the audience on how ballers are.
Yeah, but
you,
the other side of
Nathan,
that,
are
Earth Flattener,
completely intolerant to the ballers' idea of
Earth
what
Flattener,
Earth is, which is great.
The other side to that is by labouring the point the way we did, every channel on the Flat Earth circuit is talking about this point because everybody realises that these guys can't answer it. And Conspiracy Cats is the fall guy in the same way that Paul Voigt was the fall guy for Earth, Molten Iron Core, and Rumpus was the fall guy for curvature over distance because you can't see your own ass in a telescope. But these things get stuck and pinned on people on purpose, and that's why they don't come back in. Rumpus is ballsy enough to come back in, but Paul Voigt will never come back in because he knows he can't prove what the Earth's core is made of. Conspiracy Cats can't come back in. So on the one hand, you can argue, yeah, Nathan should have been a bit nicer with him, but on the other hand, if he was the way he was, and we now benefit from the ability to pin these guys up against the cross with a crucifixion on the point that they've come in for, I'd rather have the second one, to be honest.
I love it. But you're still wrong.
Yeah, I don't know why it became about Nathan. Really,
that's what it is.
Guys,
you made my point.
No, I don't think it's about Nathan and Conspiracy Cats. Let's not make it about specific case. Just moving forward. We totally understand where everybody is. Nathan and Anthony. I totally agree with Nathan, and a lot of times totally agree with Anthony. It's just my wish that entire community would realize that keeping conversations civil, no matter how the other side reacts, is best for us in the long term. And especially if we realize, taking into consideration the context of this Dave Murphy interview I was talking about, just to realize a lot of them coming from the other side, so naive. I bet a lot of you came to Flat Earth probably with many other conspiracies behind your back, so to speak. For me, it was a very long journey of realization, right? And so for a lot of people that coming in the first time, They're like newbies. Well, everybody here probably are veterans in uncovering different aspects of life and history that I would probably not be able to talk about with you comfortably, right? And even though I know we are veterans and understanding that the reality we are presented with is not what actually is. And the people who are coming in with conversation about these subjects completely green. They are not battered by the battle, not in terms of rhetoric, but in terms of starting to realize the schism of the reality, right? They're just not there. So for the most part, we're talking like to kids in a sense. And, I don't know about you, but I have kids. Yelling never helps. It shuts down. Ad hominems never helps. It shuts them down, right? It's just, I would just treat them from that perspective. I'm not saying you should treat them like that. It's just my sort of observation of it as a bystander. That's all. And I know it's hard. It's really hard to do that.
Out of interest, I know you wanted to take it away from Conspiracy Cats and myself, but did anybody on the panel happen to catch Conspiracy Cat's interview with Haunted House?
I had to turn it off. I started listening to what Jonathan started talking about, and I was like, what the hell's going on here? Sounded like they were wanking each other off.
Okay.
That's fine.
Well, okay, the bit that I picked up on was specifically the fact that Katz was detailing how he's become what I would describe as anxious, or is suffering anxiety as a consequence of this gas pressure issue. And he was saying, he was kind of explaining it away like I shouldn't be losing sleep over this, but his language was very telling enough for me to know that he's lost sleep over it. And I'll be honest, at that point I did feel guilty and sorry for him.
But then you remembered how he says things like, without the balloon, there is no pressure, and then totally redeems himself from the guilt that you did then feel.
And the little pussycat on the shelf behind him that represents Nathan.
Yeah, which has had a speech bubble on a thumbnail that comes top if you search gas pressure without a container, with his face, and that cat that represents me saying, "Oi, how do you have gas pressure without a container?" So he's got me over his shoulder every time he looks at that cat. He'll have that question coming out of that mouth. Yeah, my guilt hasn't lasted long, has it?
I don't know. While I agree a lot with a lot of what Rebel said, I completely see where he's coming from with it. It's just, sometimes that's going to be hard, man, because, again, these guys come in with a certain attitude that, yeah, and I get the whole we should be bigger than that, and I totally get it. But I'm sorry, where I'm from, like, we don't come at people twisted like that and then expect them to understand your view. You understand? Because these guys come in here with the view of, I know what's going on, and I'm here to help you guys out. I'm here to tell you guys, because I'm going to show you guys where you're wrong. And that's not the case, because they don't have anything to present to back that up. So then after that, it just descends into, well, you guys are just stupid and you don't understand anything. Well, I mean, how long am I supposed to sit there and take that? Or not just me, but anybody. Like, how long are we supposed to take this nonsense from these guys who have nothing to back them up? Like, I'm sorry, I was not built that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess the question we have to ask ourselves, not have to, but probably would help. What's the point of all this? Is it to win the argument or to
is it balls?
Point across?
No,
Yeah,
it's not
a flat
giving
earth
the
debate.
argument.
Flat earth debate. I don't think this is a channel to start losing or having compassion with people.
It is a debate channel, but to be honest, I'm using the debate channel so I can try and find out whether the Earth is curved or not, and it doesn't appear to be curved. I don't necessarily think it is flat. It might be a bigger ball, but my point is that I'm using the debate to see how strong their arguments are, and then realizing that actually they can't prove gravity, they can't prove rotation, they can't prove curve, they can't prove gas pressure in a vacuum. The housekeeping points, they don't seem to be able to do it, but the whole body of science supports them in their belief. But when you push the point, there doesn't seem to exist. Now, you've got newbies that are coming on the scene now, like Craig McNeil, Fight the Flat Earth. And he's got this, like, you know, like when people walk down the road, they've got a swagger. Well, he's got this tone to his voice that he's effectively walking down the road with a swagger in his voice. But the problem is he keeps telling people lies. He keeps saying things like gravity is a demonstrable fact. It's been repeated thousands of times. Well, why is he not in here showing us all how stupid we are? So let's get the message crossed to that Craig McNeil. Let's see the evidence. We'll either come to him sometime or he can come to us, but there won't be any babysitters. There won't be people like Red's Rhetoric holding your hand. Because when you get crucified, it's going to be all by yourself because you're the only one that's bandying these phrases around. So Craig McNeil will come in for you, which is waiting for the moment to find you. So why don't you join? Let's have a conversation. Like now, you're probably lurking in chat.
So I'm going to do a few quick announcements. One is to say that there's actually a housekeeping style Facebook page that's been set up. So I've actually been going through quite a number of emails that I haven't responded to on account of the fact of lack of time, but now I'm getting a bit more time, I can actually respond. So if I haven't responded to your contribution to me on Patreon, I'm really sorry. It's slipped through the net, so hopefully with time I will get in touch with everybody who has contributed on Patreon. If you did want to contribute to me on Patreon, there's a link in the info box below the video. But in doing so, some of the emails, as I say, one being from a chap who had explained that he'd set up a Facebook account, and he was like, I'll even hand it over to you, it's all about housekeeping. I'm like, no. You know, great that you've done a load of good work. Thank you very much indeed. Keep up the good work. But I give him a shout out. The site, I hope I got the name right, it's called Globe Skeptic Group on Facebook. I'm not a big Facebook user, so that's as much information as I can hopefully give you, but hopefully that's a good enough shout out for that particular group. So yes, with that, I'm going to actually say a farewell to the live audience, temporarily though it may be. So if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley channel live right now, it's farewell for now, but stay tuned as there will be, or stay in the chat at least, as there will be a second show to follow. If you're watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980, then stay tuned on this stream, as there will be a short after show to follow. Once again, a massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate, and of course a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. If you need something to do and you're currently in the live audience, then go to nathanoakley.com and join the forum to keep up to date with the community Flat Earth debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!